Hello and welcome to Lost in Chronologically Lost, episode 46, where this time they finally get back
Yeah.
for about 90 seconds.
They had to. Now they did.
Yeah. Now, these two episodes, they really... I have a major complaint with these, which is that the writers gave themselves 3 years. They gave themselves a 3-year gap to then fill in with all this information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, so much of it is stuffed into just like the 3 or 4 days before they get back to the island.
I mean, you gotta have we only have 70 hours left time limit for the tension.
I know, but I just feel like it would have worked better. Like, say Locke comes back, in April, which actually, in the original thing, his obituary was in April, and then they later retconned it to it was in like late November, early December. But like, say it did happen in April, and then Jack starts seeing all the visions of his dad throughout the year, and that leads him to being such a wreck at the end of the year, as opposed to just speedrunning it in like 72 hours, right?
Yeah, like how long did Jack have a beard for?
Well, he grew the beard after he left Kate, so that was a while.
Oh, wait.
It was a couple months at least.
I thought he didn't have the beard when Locke showed up.
No, he did.
Okay, alright then.
He grew it after he left Kate.
Okay. But yeah, either way, it is like so much stuff happens here, and it's like some of it, it's like, yeah, it's understandably gonna be last minute for like Hurley to decide to go, but some of that, like the character arc, it could have lasted a bit longer. Like, I don't know.
See, and here's also the thing: is you get all of these. Again, this is where I think these episodes don't work as well chronologically, and I'll say this because a lot of things, it kind of just cut to the plane and suddenly everyone's on it, and you have the moments of like, wait, why did Hurley change his mind, and why did Kate change her mind, and Saeed's in handcuffs, what's up with that? And then they would be like little snippets of flashback, like tiny little snippets of flashbacks that explain, why Kate changed her mind, or why Hurley changed his mind, as opposed to here where it's just A leads to B leads to C, and it all makes sense.
And I mean, you told me a while back, like, we had our last split screen. You were wrong. We had a split screen.
I was wrong
because they were showing these things multiple times. So I gathered that like this even was like, oh, how did they all get in this situation then?
Yeah, it was also a weird split screen because I know one of them originally was in slow mo, while the other one is at normal speed.
Oh, did they speed it up?
I think they slowed down the normal one because there wasn't any dialogue in it.
Yeah. Whew. Well, where do we begin?
We begin with Eloise Hawking doing some weird mystery equation shit to just look mysterious.
It's really just about her, telling Ben, like the fact that she's working with Ben and can tell him, you only have 70 hours. God help him if he can't get them all.
Yeah. So then we see Sun. She's keeping a watch on Aaron, and she gets a bunch of files on Ben and a gun.
Yeah, so I gotta mention, like, I was a little sus of Sun, because, she's girl bossing too hard. And, like, I think the show just, played with my expectations of who was trying to take Aaron. I was like, if Sun is involved with this, then we're screwed. But anyway, you know what really made me suspicious of her? The way she told Kate that Aaron would be fine, it really felt kind of fake, because she was like, we have over 100 channels on the TV, and then I realized, that's just how people talked back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that was a selling point for TVs back in the 2000s.
And I was alive then, but it still feels like so long ago that people talked like that. Like, how
nowadays you just throw on some Coco Melon and it would be fine.
Anyway, yep, she has got a gun. It is Sun with a gun. Meanwhile, Kate goes to see the lawyer, and she is offering a deal. She wants to meet the client, and the lawyer's like, haha, no.
Yeah, and especially when the lawyer mentions, that, the exchange of custody will happen. And she's like, well, wait a minute, that's...
It's a little presumptuous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not presumptuous because they know she's not the mother, but
they're getting ahead of themselves still. You know, they're counting their chickens. Anyway, you know, the thing about the exchange of custody is, like, it's not, like, why would Ben get it?
I don't think he would. I think it was just to pressure her.
I guess, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that more later. I have some thoughts on what this plan was supposed to do. But anyway, meanwhile,
I think also having the lawyer work for the mom, I think if Jack hadn't been there, Kate would have been like, oh, Claire's mom is just trying to get her. I'm not going to go talk to her. And I think maybe if she didn't have that weird dream of Claire saying don't bring Aaron back, maybe she would have gone back to the island with Aaron, you know?
It's hard to say because it's like...
They never explain it. But
it's like, is bringing Aaron back to the island a good idea or not? Like, is it important for the magic?
I think in plot wise, it could be interesting, but they learned their lesson with Walt. They're not taking their chances with another child actor.
And well, the thing was with a baby, you can just use a different baby and no one cares.
Fun fact that the actor who's playing, 3-year-old Aaron here actually was one of the babies for like baby Aaron.
Huh.
So they actually kept him.
Yeah, that is...
Well, one of them,
cool,
obviously, tons of babies.
Cool, I guess.
Yeah.
And, I'm just wondering, like, would Kate think, oh, I have to take my baby with me? Or would she think, like, I can't possibly bring him back there, it's too unsafe to be on the island?
It's hard to say. Again, I think if she hadn't had that nightmare with Claire, I think maybe she would have at least thought about bringing him.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to say because the reason, if she believed in the Magic Island, then she would definitely bring him. But the reason she's going is not that she, believes that this is important. It's more about, not being over Sawyer or whatever.
Right. Well, her reason also ends up being, okay, I need to get Aaron with his actual mother. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, back at the hospital.
Well, not his actual mother. His actual grandmother. Or
no,
you mean
she's
Claire
going
back?
to the island to go get Claire.
Yeah, bring Claire back. Oh yeah, okay, we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
But yeah, when I watched that point,
back
I was
at the hospital.
honestly, out of everyone's reasons to go back, that's maybe the best.
Yeah. So back at the hospital, Saeed has recovered.
Yeah. And they sort of just talk about, can we trust Ben or not? Yeah.
And Jack's like, oh, we can trust him. And Saeed's like, no, we can't.
Yeah.
But
meanwhile, Jack gets some shit from one of his bosses because he was suspended for substance abuse.
I remember you were like, how did Jack do all this? And the answer is illegally. That's how he did it.
And I do think it's justified. If you have an emergency and it is your close friend, you could just bring him in. But once your boss tells you to leave, you also kind of have to...
Well, you can bring him in to be treated by another doctor. You can't do it when you're suspended.
Yeah. Anyway, he gets a call from Hurley, and Hurley's like, yeah, don't worry, I did what Saeed said, so I'm, I'm in prison. I'm in jail.
I'm totally safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then Ben shows up and is like, how's it going? And then we get a nurse showing up to handle Saeed, and I think Saeed and every viewer is immediately suspicious of this. And yep, when the guy pulls out a dart gun, I love the shot. We see Saeed just not there in the bed.
Okay, this is also such a weird scene because this is literally the scene in writing where it's like, well, if you don't know what to do, it's really interesting to just have some assassin come out and attack your character randomly.
Yeah.
This never goes anywhere. We don't learn who he works for. We don't learn why he had Kate's address in his pocket. We don't learn shit. It just happens.
But the thing is, it's Saeed, so seeing him deal with assassins is cool.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we got an action scene.
Yeah.
No matter the cost.
Anyway, so he chokes the guy. It's the address is in my pocket. Saeed shoots him with the stuff. And, I feel like that guy's gonna overdose and die.
Well, good thing he's in a hospital.
Yeah. Anyway, yep, that is Kate's address for sure. And Jack calls Kate and does not tell her that some assassins might be going for her.
Yeah, well...
Jack moment.
Again, that plot line just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, for all we know, it literally is Ben trying to pressure them through psychological tactics.
I don't think this would be Ben. I don't think he would use it. It doesn't make sense to me that this would be Ben. Like, I don't see how that adds up.
Okay, there are other things Ben has done that don't add up. Like when we first met him.
Okay, that's true, but this is season 5 by this point. They know what Ben's about.
Okay. Well, anyway, Jack is like, I gotta see you, Kate, and meanwhile Ben wants to go get Hurley, and they, make plans to all meet.
Yeah. So then, Kate tells Jack everything about the lawyer situation, and she tails the lawyer to a hotel with...
Yeah, and is this the same one that we've seen in, multiple other scenes?
Yep. Gotta reuse those locations.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably only so many close to where they shoot in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah, some of this stuff actually was filmed in LA, but you can tell some of the stuff is Hawaii doubling for LA.
Yeah. Anyway, so... it is Claire's mother, and it's like, ooh, she knows it's hers. She wants her baby. So Jack...
And it's like, honestly, she does have a right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was her, it wouldn't really be evil. It would be like, well, he is her grandson.
Yeah.
And, yes, Kate, you have been raising him, but you only did that, You only got that chance because you lied about the parentage.
Like if it was her, I don't think she'd have a reason to keep herself secret.
I don't think she. Yeah, I think if it was actually her, she would have been like.
She would have asked. She would have asked nicely before going to lawyers.
Yes.
But anyway, so Jack goes.
So Jack's like, I'll go talk her out of it. Don't worry.
And he's like, we did all of this. We did it for Aaron's sake. And she's like, who's Aaron?
So then he's like, oh. Okay, bye.
And then they need to get going. They need Sun to bring Aaron to keep him safe because all she was doing was suing Oceanic, Claire's mom, I mean.
Yeah.
So,
and it turns out the lawyer works for Ben because, of course.
Because Ben is the mastermind. And he just, So let's talk about this plan. So, let's say he does get the baby, he wouldn't really get it for himself. But I think I
don't think he would get the baby. I think it was to pressure Kate to leave, to go somewhere.
He knows they have to leave really soon, so he knows it wouldn't even reach that point.
Exactly. I think it's just to pressure Kate.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And
we also hear that the lawyer, he's like, hey, I'll go defend Reyes because they have nothing that'll stick on him, which is true.
He didn't murder him.
No, he just happened to have some ketchup and a dart gun at the wrong time.
Yep. And then finally Jack tells Kate what's going on, and it's like, Jack, just tell Kate things. Kate is one of the people you can tell things, and you never tell her things.
Yeah, so everyone meets up, and Kate realizes that Ben is trying to take Aaron.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yep, it was me.
Yep. And it's like, Ben is like, it's not your son, and come on. Adoptive parents are real parents.
Again, it's hard to make this distinction when it's not like Claire gave him up. She happily raised Aaron for 3 months, and then got, magic island brainwash into leaving him for a day when that day just happened to be the day they're leaving.
What is the Man in Black even trying to do?
Oh, you'll see.
Anyway, so meanwhile Sun is there watching them. And Sun has Aaron with him, and she gets a call from a babysitter, and let me just say, Sun's daughter...
It's not a baby, it's her mom.
Oh, it's her mom.
That's Sun's mom.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know. Well, Sun's daughter, let me just say, is adorable. And wants to say hello, and wants her to come home. But Sun has someone to kill.
Yeah, she also says, I found a friend for you to play with in America, which is really wish in the 3 years we could have seen that happen.
Yeah. Why is Hurley the only one who ever visited her?
I mean, Kate couldn't. She legally couldn't. She was already
Yeah.
she was trapped in California. But I mean, still, come on.
Yeah. Anyway, so she gets to the car. It's like, I'm gonna fucking shoot you, Ben. Jin would be alive if not for you. And I really don't think it's Ben's fault. Is it Ben's fault Jin died? I don't... Like...
Well, because Ben killed the guy who had the heart monitor.
Does Sun know that?
Off.
Does Sun know that?
Yeah, let's just say she does.
Okay, sure, I guess. Alright, Ben. But Ben is saying he's not dead, I can prove it. And yeah, just because he has the ring, which I actually forgot about while I was watching this part.
Yeah, because that happened so long ago. Oh, well, no, actually, we saw him take the ring from Locke a couple episodes ago. But Locke getting the ring from Jin was quite a while ago for us.
Yeah. So then Sun wants the proof, and Ben's like, I gotta take you to Eloise, and then I can show you the proof. I thought he was saying that Eloise had the proof, but no, it's just that's his like, demand. And... Well,
he phrased it like going there would have the evidence, but really it was, he has the evidence, and also once I show it to you, it would just be a lot easier to coerce you once you're already at the location.
Mm-hmm. And then Kate is like, wait, you people want to go back? God damn it, it's like you're as crazy as Jack. So...
And so, yeah, Sai's also like, yeah, you're crazy, I'm out.
Yep. And meanwhile, Ben's like, we can be there in 30 minutes. And then we get a scene of Kate at the driving Aaron, like, he wants milk, and then as soon as they're in the store, he wants a juice box, because Aaron's a good kid. Juice boxes are good.
Yeah. And then she loses him in the grocery store.
Yeah, because she got
and there's like a split second where it looks like, some blonde woman is taking him.
And just like, oh, I was just taking him to the front to page you.
So that's where her mindset changes.
Yep. And
I see a lot of people got mad that this is what changed her mind, but it was like, come on,
it's not.
It was a long time coming.
It's not almost losing him. It's, as she explains, it's what almost losing him made her realize about how she felt.
Well, I'm glad you understand the scene more than most people.
Yeah. It's not like she's scared that next time she loses him in a grocery store that she won't be able to get him back, or that even she's scared that the others will get him. She just realizes that she's expecting him to lose him sooner or later, and like that wasn't a surprise to her when it did happen. Not because it was fated to happen, but just because in her own head she realized she was always anticipating it.
Yeah. So then back in the SUV, we have Jack apologizing for leaving Jin on the boat, and Sun is like, why are you saying this now?
No, we can't skip the funny lines where Sun is like, you said we'd be there in 30 minutes, and Ben is like, I didn't account for traffic.
It's LA, Ben. You always got to account for traffic.
So Sun is like, what, are you telling me that because you don't want me to kill Ben? And Jack's like, oh, don't worry, I'll kill Ben. And then Ben goes off like a parent whose kids won't shut up on the road trip.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sick and tired of everyone wanting to kill me, even though I've just been helping you. Also, and then I'm just like looking at him. I'm like, bro, you killed Locke 2 days ago.
You fucking killed Locke. That's in my notes. You fucking killed Locke, Ben. Fuck you.
Yeah. So they get to the destination and they show Sun Jin's ring as proof he's alive, which is, again another ironic thing where it was supposed to be proof he was dead, but. And so this also happens to just be the time when Desmond shows up to Eloise. I guess it does take a while to sail from London to
I was thinking, like,
LA.
I don't think I ever brought it up, but in some of the time where, like, before Desmond got here, I was like, I thought we were going to see Desmond meet her next episode. I guess not, because there is travel time. In fact, the travel time is probably part of, like...
And it's part of sail travel time. Yeah, it's a while.
It's probably part of why they put the earlier part of that where they did.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Yeah. So it turns out under this church is another Dharma outpost.
See, it's so lost to make it so, like, Eloise lives in a church and is like, because they always have the religious vibes. But it's like, it's not because she's a religious person necessarily. It's just because there's a Dharma base
Well, we
there.
know she knows the island. She
Yeah.
She knows
I mean,
the
she
island
believes
magic.
in the island. She's just not, a Christian.
Yeah. So, yeah, this one is called The Lamp Post.
Yep.
I remember this was very interesting to me because this episode was airing as I was still catching up on the DVDs. I think I was on, like, the late season 3 or season 4 DVDs as I was watching this season 5.
Yeah.
And my mind was so blown that there was, like, another one
Yeah.
on land. I was like...
Holy shit, outside the island.
Yeah.
And it's like, that shouldn't be weird. Dharma came from the rest of the world.
Yeah. And yeah, she explains that this is how they find the island.
And
Reading
she's
the
like-
wiki about this, they have so many complaints about how, well, actually, when you use that kind of pendulum, you wouldn't be able to... It's like, shut up, it's a magic pendulum
Yeah,
that
no,
just
I
spins around
know,
everyone. Shut up.
I know how that kind of pendulum works. That's obviously not what they're using it for right now.
Yeah,
like-
no, this is... Especially when you can see that the marks have gone places that are not the South Pacific.
Yeah.
Like, clearly,
Anyway,
it can show anywhere.
I like how this, like, did Ben know about this? And Ben's like, I didn't know about this. And Eloise is just like, he's probably lying.
Well, she
then-
knows he's lying because he showed up there just the other day.
Yeah. Anyway, it is big Lorca dump time, so it's like, yeah, this room in a pocket of electromagnetism connects to other pockets like the one in Australia. They built this, they wanted the island, they knew it was somewhere, so someone's like, let's predict where it's going to be, and he was right, and they get the high probability of where it'll be during a certain point in time. There's a window of time, and this window closes in 36 hours.
Yeah. So then Desmond also goes, wait, you guys are going back? You're all fucking insane.
Yeah, I love it. And like
I
Desmond
do love the
doesn't go
lineup where
back.
Eloise is
Like-
Eloise is like, the island isn't done with you, and
And
he
like-
says, well, I'm done with the island.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean, he doesn't go. I don't know if the plot will find a way to work him back in, but he doesn't go back to the island.
no, he does not. He is chilling with Penny.
Yeah,
Like,
as he deserves.
yeah, he was on there for 3 years. That's long enough.
Yeah. And, he basically just says, here's your message. The people on the island need your help. And, I mean, she's already doing this. Also, how did Daniel actually know that they would need her help? Like, this was so long ago that he said that now I'm just like, what? I didn't realize Daniel knew that much.
Again, it's hard to sort of explain. So, again, Daniel originally thought that if they came back, the time jumps would stop, which is not true, because the time jump stopped without them. But, again, it's hard to explain because you haven't seen the end of it yet, but essentially, Jack and Kate and Hurley and Saeed coming back to the 70s did, in a way, help them.
I mean, they... then the events of the plot they worked together.
Yeah, I can explain it better later once we've seen more stuff.
I mean, I need to see, like, does the nuke just fucking send them back to the present? Like, they still had to kind of survive a nuke.
Right.
I kind of gotta see... I mean, I hope I'd get that soon. I guess there might... Well, I'll talk about that later. So... Eloise says, here's, air routes that go over here, and the perfect one goes to Guam, Ajira, Flight 316.
Yeah, I wonder how much restraint it took to not call it 416. And she says they need to recreate the original flight as best they can, which does lead to some interesting things where, Locke is filling in for Jack's dad.
And it's
but
like,
then,
It's like, imagine if Ben's like, I had to kill him so he could fill in for your dad.
then you also have, this time Saeed's the one in handcuffs, not Kate and
Yeah.
everything. Like that, it's,
Yeah.
it's funny.
So then,
privately,
yeah, she tells
Eloise
Jack
gives...
about, the suicide note, which I can't imagine not being curious about a suicide note.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is also the note. You saw Jack with this note a long time ago, way back when he landed in the 70s. So now you're finally getting to see what's in it.
I piece it together when he's on the plane reading it. I was like, I think I messaged you last night. I was like, wait a second, what, didn't he have a note when he was there in the 70s?
Yeah, in the 70s, you did get to see the first two words. You got to see "I wish,"
Yeah.
but
anyway, and then she explains he needs to be the substitute, so they need to get something of Christians to give to Locke. And then we have the whole leap of faith thing. She's like, gotta go for it. And Jack sits down with Ben, and he asks who Eloise was, and Ben says some Christian stuff about the guy who, refused to acknowledge Jesus' resurrection, had to touch the wounds. And I think this is definitely, the fundamental turning point when Jack becomes a man of faith. Remember in the 70s, Kate told Jack, oh, you're talking like Locke? This is when Jack became that.
yeah. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. So, he gives the whole story of, Jesus' resurrection, and this guy had to touch the wounds in order to actually, to finally believe it. Also, the van that Ben has been driving around has the name on it, Canton Rainier, which is an anagram for reincarnation. So, sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
Okay, it's obvious if you're watching the show as it comes out and you're talking with people online and everyone's trying to figure out the anagrams.
He literally, not even that, even if you miss the anagram, he literally tells the whole story about, Jesus will resurrect, but, that non-believer's gonna believe because they'll see the evidence right there,
Yep. I mean, the thing is, I'm sure Locke will resurrect because they're gonna pull that, because, like I said when I realized it, they're gonna pull the Jesus shit. But, when Christian came onto the island, it's sometimes when we saw him, it was, sometimes when we saw him, it was just, him, I think, and sometimes it was the Man in Black.
Yeah, sometimes it was a ghost, and sometimes it was the Man in Black.
So, is Locke going to be a ghost, or is he just going to come back? I guess to be the resurrection, you got to just make him come back, or else he would only be as special as Christian was.
Yeah. So, cut to Saeed meeting this hot woman at a bar.
Is this the one... This is, the one Jacob talked to, right?
Yes.
She looks way, way hotter when you can see her face.
Well, yeah, when she's not in a hospital bed recovering from serious wounds. Yeah, she does look better. Yeah.
Let's be honest. When I saw this, I was like, is this going to be the fourth woman Saeed falls in love with that dies?
Oh, no. But she does seduce him before attacking him and saying that she's working for one of the family of one of his victims.
And she's all you're gonna pay. It's that guy was paying for what he's done, I'm pretty sure.
Right. And this was actually really interesting in the original, because obviously we didn't see the Jacob stuff until later. Yeah. So we just kind of assumed that, she was this bounty hunter who was just taking him to Guam for this reason. Especially when she takes him...
And it's that would be such a weird... when they play it as all these coincidences that everyone ends up on the flight, and then now it's just oh, no, Jacob was just making sure it happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of fan theories that she was actually working for Ben around this time, but nope. Yeah. Even higher up than Ben, Jacob.
We're coming into season 6. It's Jacob time.
It is still really funny in the original when you don't know she's working for Jacob, and she's escorting Saeed onto the plane, and he just sees all the rest of the Oceanic Six, and he's just can we please just take a different plane?
Yeah. And it's he knows. I don't think Saeed is one of those big believers in the magic of the island, but when he sees all of them getting on a plane again, he can figure out that some shit's gonna happen.
Yeah. So then
anyway,
Kate goes to
visit Cassidy. And we do see...
And we get to see grown-up Clementine.
Yeah, that's Sawyer's kid.
Mm-hmm.
And they've still not reunited or anything, so I wonder if that'll ever happen. But she's wow, this is fucking crazy. And Cassidy calls her out, you needed him because Sawyer broke your heart. And I'm just come on. Sawyer is with
Jack
Juliet.
was right there.
Sawyer is with Juliet. Sawyer sucked. Sawyer was an asshole to you many times over. You fucking told Sawyer he reminded you of your abusive dad, and you're still on this shit.
It is frustrating.
Okay, can I just point out? I think it's been a while since I've watched the 70s arc, but I'm pretty sure that, like, when I watched that part, I don't think anything was being played as, like, Jack and Kate were together. I don't think that was happening.
No, they were actively apart, and
Yeah.
he was mad about it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I get that in that Jack can be a difficult person to be with, too. But it's like, damn, we've been through so much shit, and Sawyer is with someone else now. I swear to God, if Season 6 pulls some shit, if Season 6 does something where Juliet, like, breaks up with Sawyer because she's like, I know that the one you really love is Kate, I am gonna, like, complain so much.
Okay. Do you remember where Juliet was left off?
No, I don't.
She fell down like 100-foot well and was barely crawling to an exploded a bomb right next to her own face.
She could be fine.
Oh my, okay, yeah. Sure. Right, people survive that every day.
Yeah, I've survived that.
Right.
Okay,
so,
well, fuck this. So Season 6 is going to be more love triangle, I'm sure.
So then we get
Just remember, don't blame Evangeline Lilly, blame the writers.
Oh yeah, it's all their fault.
Yeah.
So then we get a really long scene of Jack going to go visit his grandfather
And
that just
this
ends
was
up with
just
him getting
kind
some
of-
shoes.
I mean, I like his grandfather. Seems like a fun character, but it's kind of.
But this had nothing to do with
Yes,
anything
it
other
doesn't.
than getting the shoes.
But it's like this scene exists because he needs the shoes, but in order to justify that, we need a whole grandfather character, and it feels so odd to watch, just because like.
Why couldn't he have just gone and visited his mom to go get some
yeah,
shoes or
first of
something?
all, we barely get any of Jack's mom, which is like really weird. Like every time she shows up, it's like he has a mom, so it's also like he has a grandfather. But it's like, of course, people have grandfathers, but it feels weird because when you watch a character do Magic Island stuff, surviving, doing Fate, and then need to go back to the island, it feels so odd to just see them in such a normal situation, like having a grandfather, when you never really see it before. Like, it's not...
And you're not going to see him again.
And it's it's not part... Like, Jack's relationship with his grandfather isn't part of his story, you know?
It's not. It absolutely isn't. This was just a long scene to get some shoes.
But I like the scene because his grandfather seems like a fun guy.
Right.
Anyway, Hurley is getting discharged, and he's like, hey, I killed those people. Let me stay in. But he gets in the cab, and Jacob is there.
Yep. And we see that Hurley still blames himself for being cursed and dragging everyone into things.
I gotta say, I like Jacob. Like he just comes off as like a chill, friendly dude. And it's like, when I first see him thousands of years ago, he's like, you know, he's so caught up in all this like destiny stuff, and like he's like the Jesus figure that it's like, you know, it's like he doesn't feel like a regular person. But then it's kind of cool that like he is capable of just being like a regular person, relating to people when he needs to for his mission. And when he does, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, and he says, you know, Hurley, you're not cursed, you're actually blessed, and
yeah,
you're
and
not
he's like,
crazy.
he just like, trust me on this, you aren't crazy.
And he basically says, well, you don't have to get on the plane, but you have to get on that plane.
Yeah. And I like this a lot because, like, with other characters, if Jacob showed up, it would do nothing. But Hurley is, like, just the right kind of dude that Jacob showing up is the right thing to push him. And Jacob knows that. That's why Jacob showed up for Hurley, but not any of the others, to convince him to go.
Right. And then he leaves his guitar case saying it's not his.
So whose is it? Maybe he just means it's Hurley's now, or is it just like... I mean,
a lot of people thought this would have something to do with like Charlie because it's a guitar case.
That came to me too, but
It doesn't.
How would it? That's the thing.
It's Jacob's guitar.
How would
You'll see what happens.
Okay. It's not his guitar because he's giving it to Hurley, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Kate shows up at Claire's mom's place. I'm gonna be honest, I still don't remember her name. I'm just calling her Claire's mom.
I don't remember her name either.
Anyway, she's like, he's your grandson. Claire's alive. And, she gave birth, and the mom is like, why did you leave Claire behind? It's like, she disappeared, we couldn't find her, and so, and she's like, why didn't you come to me in the first place? And here's my point, like, if I was Claire's mom, I would have such justification to, like, go off on, like, you kept me away from my family, you didn't tell me my daughter's alive, and I feel like Kate really escapes that just by being like, I'm doing this, I'm leaving right now, because I'm going to go get your daughter back. Where it's like, I just feel like, if Kate wasn't being like, I'm getting your daughter back, then if I was the mom, I would have screamed at her. But once Kate's, like, getting the daughter back, like, you can't scream at the person who's about to go get your daughter back.
Yeah. And then she says a really sad goodbye to Aaron.
And, like we said, this is a really justified reason to go back.
Yeah. So then Jack finds Kate in his house.
Yep.
And
how did she get in?
I assume she still has keys.
Yeah, or she's a criminal. She can pick locks.
I think Jack left her with a key still.
Yeah. And so they start kissing, I think, but...
Well, before that, he asks, he's like, where's Aaron? And she says, oh, if you want me to go with you, you'll never ask me about Aaron. Which was something they brought up in the 70s arc, too, a long time ago.
Did they? What did they say about it?
He started asking about Aaron. He's like, I know you told me never to ask. And she's like, well, then why are you?
Well, I feel like that's kind of unjustified, because I feel like, oh, I left her with Claire's mom so we can go get Claire back. I feel like that's something you should say.
I don't think it was literally. I think it's the stuff about her not really being Aaron's mom and everything.
Yeah, I mean, okay, don't ask about that, but you should at least explain where he is. Like, Aaron is a child. That's a reasonable thing to be concerned about.
Yeah, so then they kiss and presumably have sex.
Yep, but they are not going to be together after this.
No, because she's still bitter.
So Ben calls Charles Widmore to gloat. He's like, I'm going back to the island, and you aren't.
Also, I'm going to kill your daughter.
Yeah, don't do that, Ben. And, okay, honestly, I think it would have made sense if Ben died here. I'm sure he will do great, interesting things in Season 6. I'm not saying he needed to die here, but it would feel really interesting if, like, you can't go back to the island, and Ben is fated to not be allowed to go back to the island because his own fatal flaw, because he wanted revenge so bad, he ends up getting himself killed and doesn't get to go back to the island. I feel like that would just feel like a cool way of closing it off. But
see, the way this was originally presented is Jack just suddenly gets the call from, like, a super beaten up and bloodied Ben, who's like, I've been a little sidetracked, so I need you to go do this. And then later we see what he meant by being sidetracked. Like,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Also, just a question about the structure. I'm going to have a follow-up question near the end, but a question for now is, so were some of this stuff like flashbacks while we were in the 70s of, like, how they all ended up on the plane?
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. Anyway, so Desmond is like, what the hell are you doing here? And Ben just shoots him.
Yeah, and then he goes to go kill Penny, and he has some monologue about how horrible Whitmore is.
He's like, I like how he's trying to be dramatic, and then he's like, your father's a really terrible human being. Yeah. Like, that's all it's really about to him. But then Charlie comes up.
Yeah, gets distracted by the little kid.
And, I mean, I think on some level look, would Ben kill a child? Yes, absolutely. Let us not fool ourselves. There are many, many situations where Ben would kill a child. You don't even have to, like, make up a contrived situation. You don't have to be like, oh, if killing this child would save the world, Ben would do it. No. There are plenty of reasonable situations where no one else would kill a child, but Ben would. That said, I think it is getting to him that, is he gonna kill someone, like he is so sad because his child was killed, now he's gonna kill someone in front of their child? I think, it's making him think.
And to be fair, you could even take this back further of how, he was still saddened from how, he never got to meet his mother because his mother died in childbirth and everything.
Yeah.
And that was a major source of, like, trauma for him. And so
Yeah.
you could even be bringing
Yeah,
that
that is
back.
true. Ben definitely has deeply rooted issues. And I think, he cares about that parental relationship.
Yeah. And then Desmond tackles him and beats him the fuck up.
Hell
and it's like, yeah, deserved.
You told me a long time ago, Ben's a great villain because he gets his shit kicked in a lot, and obviously that's season 3 stuff of him getting his shit kicked in. That worked really well. But there's still more of it, and this is a great example of it.
Yeah.
So, and Desmond, like, he did get shot. He just, like, he's just gotta do what he's gotta do.
Yeah, well, I assume he had the adrenaline to go save his wife and child, and then collapse and has to go to the hospital.
It just reminds me, the movie Con Air?
I have not seen it, but
it's
sure.
so corny. I love the hell of it. It's so ridiculous. And there's just a part where, like, Nick Cage, he gets, like, shot in the arm, and he just, like, ignores it and punches somebody with that arm, and it's just like, if you have shit you need to do, you fucking ignore a bullet.
That's like in Predator. I don't got time to bleed. Like
I've never seen that, but that sounds great.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Jack makes coffee for Kate, and
he tells the story of the shoes,
and it's like, oh, my dad wasn't worth nice shoes to me. Honestly, I like that because, like, there's no part of this that makes Jack think his dad wasn't a bad person. But he did just, like, come to terms with that, even despite all that, he did love his dad.
Yeah, and also finally explained who the tennis shoes at the very opening scene of the series were. They were the shoes that Jack put on his dad.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, when Jack first wakes up in the bamboo forest on the island, he sees a bunch of shoes hanging above him, or like a couple white tennis shoes above him. And so it's like, oh, that's where those came from. I'll go back to episode 1. Like, it's not a real mystery, but it's just like,
they're going to explain that, but they're not going to explain who was trying to kill Saeed.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, so he gets the call from Ben, and Ben just like, please deal with this for me.
Yeah.
And then Desmond is being brought to the hospital, and Penny is understandably freaking out.
Yeah. So then we cut to Jack putting... Well, he has to go meet with the woman there who's working for Ben, and it's like, yeah, whatever, nobody cares about you.
Yeah.
And then he does the whole thing where he's putting the shoes on lock, and being he's like, oh, I bet you're looking down and just laughing at me for doing this.
Yep.
Like...
And then he puts the note in because he doesn't want to read it. It's like, how can you not be curious?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that he's worried that Locke will guilt him, but I would do it anyway.
And so then Jack and Son in line at the airport, they see Saeed getting escorted by Ilana.
Yeah. Also there was just a bit of him, telling the airline people, like, he wanted to be buried in Guam. I was his friend. And some random guy is like, I'm sorry you lost your friend, which this random guy's going to be a main character, I guess.
Not a main character, but he will... I mean, he will be like... I'll say he'll be like the one person from this random crew of people who are now on this other flight who will do things.
Yes. And, look, I'll talk about that at the end. But, so, yeah, Ilana just has Saeed in handcuffs, and no one notices or asks anything. And Hurley bought almost all the tickets on the plane to try and save people, which, honestly, like, baller move.
Yeah.
Like, hell, like, that is a way to use your riches. And,
so then we see Saeed seeing everyone in the split screen, and he's like, I'm very superstitious about flying.
Yep. And so everyone's getting on, they see each other, and we get another split screen where Hurley's like, hey, Ben can't come, and it's like, no, we gotta do it. And Saeed asks
Saeed is like, are you working for Ben? And she's like, what? No.
Yeah. I mean, once, like, everyone's on the flight, I feel like Saeed should just, like, they should just start talking a bit more than they do.
Yeah, well, they're not really on good terms with each other.
Yeah, I guess. And so someone tells Jack, like, oh, as they mentioned before during the earlier scene, like, they have to, screen Locke's body, and they found the note to him, and it's like, the airline people must have assumed, oh, he had a note. I'm sure nobody noticed. I'm sure Jack would want that.
Well, it says Jack on the note.
Yeah, exactly. And so then Jack's like, what's going to happen to the other people? And Ben says, who cares?
Yeah. So then
I
Jack's
gotta
like,
say,
I think everyone...
I gotta mention it's funny that, like, I was guessing so much, like, how... So Saeed was in handcuffs? Does he get arrested? Did he get in trouble? It's like... And then it's like, no, he was just handcuffed by a hot lady. Classic Saeed.
Yeah. So then, Jack is talking to Kate. He's like, don't you think it means something, everyone being together?
Yeah.
And Kate's like, no, it doesn't. And then we hear Frank Lapidus.
We got Frank in the house.
Yeah, it's like, come on, Kate, you can't say it doesn't mean anything now. Like,
so Jack just goes up...
They didn't even plan for this at all. It just happened.
And then Jack goes and is like, hey, I know Frank, can I talk to him? And Frank was like, hey, Jack, what a coincidence. And then he sees everyone and he's like, we are not going to Guam, are we?
Yeah. He just, like, rolls with everything. He's just like, yeah, we're gonna crash, alright.
Honestly, I didn't think we were getting more Frank because I didn't see him in the 70s arc. And so I assumed he was just like a season 4 character and that's it. Who was honestly like very likable, but just, brief. And I'm glad we're getting more of him because he's a fun guy. He has a great attitude.
Yeah, everyone loves Lapidus.
Yeah. And then meanwhile we see Eloise there to see Penny, and
first she says, "Oh, I think it's my son's fault that this happened."
Yeah.
It's like
your son is Benjamin Linus, and she's just like, Lord no.
Yeah, no.
It's Daniel Faraday. And he's like, sorry, this is a casualty of a larger conflict. And I just want to point out, Penny's like, what, is he going to die? No, casualty does not mean dead. Like, the casualties in a war, that includes the number of injured.
But it's also that Eloise says, for the first time in a long time, I don't know what's going to happen. She doesn't know if Desmond lives or dies.
Because she knew what would happen because of the journal. This is past the scope of it.
So, but yeah, Desmond is recovering, so that's good.
And,
then
okay,
shows
wait,
up.
I gotta say, it just hit me that the reason she didn't need Desmond to tell her to help people is because Desmond probably put in the notebook in his journal that he told Desmond to go to her.
Yeah, he did.
I just connected that.
Yeah.
Like, that's why she was like, I'm already doing it. Anyway, so, Widmore shows up. And he's like,
they just have a whole argument about things, and this is where originally it's revealed that Daniel's father is Widmore, but it's like we've been knew that since like episode 7.
I honestly thought that I asked about that months ago, and I thought that you told me. I thought you told me it wasn't, but it's like, who else?
No, we know they were a couple in the 70s.
Yep, it's really just who. Actually, I think what I asked about was I asked in the other action when we found out that Widmore had an affair with a woman from the rest of the world. I asked if it was that he had Daniel, but no, it was whoever Penny's mom is. But he still
we
never
learned who Penny's mom is.
And it's like, wow, so we never get like Daniel and Penny talking about the fact that they're siblings.
Well, yeah, they never find out, and I mean. Penny's not going to the 70s where Daniel will ultimately die, so it's just we have closed loop on that.
We have seen the scope of Daniel's life, unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, and Eloise slaps Widmore when he says Daniel's his son.
Oh yeah. Because you know what, I don't care, Widmore. Fuck you anyway.
Yeah. Then we get like a funny scene on the plane where Jack goes, "How can you read?" And Ben just immediately goes, "My mother taught me." Like, which is like one funny because obviously it's not the question, but two. It's also a lie. Like, his mother did not teach him how to read.
Ben and Locke are just the same. They lie when they really don't need to.
Yeah, I just love how to Ben it's literally second nature. He didn't even think. He didn't have to think about it.
Well, I also that's just a joke basically. But anyway, so
And then Jack says, "Oh, did you know that Locke killed himself?" And Ben says,
just,
"No." And it's like, because he knows that
Ben.
Locke was murdered by him.
Fuck you, Ben. Well, I wonder when it's gonna come out that they did this. Anyway, so Ben calls out Jack for being afraid that Locke blames him, which, I mean, yeah, you kind of did say that maybe you're not special, like, right before Locke was gonna do it.
And it's like, to be fair, if Ben had not broken into that motel room, it kind of would be Jack's fault.
Yeah, like...
But luckily, Ben has absolved him of that in a roundabout way.
Anyway, he reads note, it's, "I wish you had believed me, I think, because I honestly struggled to read the cursive."
Yeah, it's "I wish you had believed me," which is just, ooh, that's a hard thing to read. Like,
yep. And then plane gets struck by lightning or turbulence. They're crossing the threshold.
Yeah.
And Hurley tells that random guy to fasten his seatbelt, and as the plane falls, we get this flash of light, and I think that's what sends some of them to the 70s.
Yeah, because back in the 70s, they're like, "Do you guys remember crashing?" And they're like, "No, just like some white light, and now we're here." And
then, so I think I messaged you right before this happened, where I basically just asked you, like, okay, is it just the reason they couldn't find Sun? Is it just the boring answer that
she didn't get teleported in the 70s? Yes.
Who got teleported or not was very arbitrary, depending on what the plot was.
I would say there again, you can piece together the reasons why people teleported and did not. You will be able to piece them together later.
Obviously,
not right now, though.
Obviously, people who weren't from the original crash weren't going to teleport, but I don't know what makes Sun different.
There is a reason. Because Ben also did not teleport. So.
Well, yeah, but he's not from the crash.
Right, but he is from the island.
Frank has been on the island.
Yeah. So there is a reason.
And so anyway, the plane is still struggling, and then they are like, "Wait, there's a runway. What the fuck? This is why the others were building that runway all along?"
Yes. This is why.
On Hydra Island. So like they're not on the main island, they're on Hydra Island right now.
Correct.
And so I'm sure that it's just that Jacob told them that they had to do this, I'm sure. So I'm not going to worry about how they knew that they had to do this. But this is what it was for.
I don't think he was expecting such a large plane, though. It felt like it was designed for a shorter plane.
God. I wasn't even questioning that because I just had no idea. And then this is what it is. I know a lot of people I know a lot of people get frustrated with some things that Lost doesn't explain, but I'm still impressed with a lot of the things that they do explain.
Yeah. So, and then, so the co-pilot dies from the landing. A tree branch kills him.
And then,
And then he goes to the back, and they're like, "Where the fuck is everyone else?"
Yeah. And so the guy wakes up. His name is Caesar, I think. And, So, I don't know if Caesar is important, but he seems like he might just be a completely random guy. I will say he has a name and he has voice lines, which in TV land, voice lines means you're a cut above not having voice lines. Okay, I'm sure he's special in some way, but I love the idea...
I wouldn't say special, I'd say he's there. I would say he's there in some way.
I just really want to see, like... I just want to, like, I hope he's just some random guy taking a flight to Guam for whatever reason, business or whatever, who is just
that's what he is.
I just want to see him be like, "What the fuck? We're on a magic island? What the fuck? You people have all been here before? What the fuck?" I just want to see his reactions.
I don't think you'll get all that. I don't think you'll get all that, but you will get. He's just a normal guy who happens to be there.
Look, a lot of TV shows, because reactions like that don't matter to the plot, so shows skip them, and I get that, but I still love it when I get it. And if I don't get it here, I'm just going to imagine it. Him just being like, "Wait, all of you have been here before?" And yeah. So anyway, my final question is there still season 5 stuff that's just kind of this side of the cast here in the present while 70 stuff was happening, or is the next thing we see going to be season 6?
Nope, there's season 5 stuff because we have Sun here, we have Ben here, we have Lapidus here. I mean, Locke's body is on the plane, so who knows where that went.
So they're going to have a plot line that was happening concurrently with the 70s stuff, I guess. And I don't know how long it'll be, but I guess I have that ahead of me.
I want to say I think we'll cover it all next time.
All right. Well, I mean,
I'm not 100% on that. I'm not 100% on that. I think that's it. I think most of the focus was on the 70s.
Yeah. So I'm sure Locke stuff will be interesting. I'm sure whatever Caesar does will be normal person things. And even if I don't get Sun and Jin reuniting yet, I'm happy to just know what Sun was doing during that time. Obviously I know now in a general sense, but I think I'll get some satisfaction just out of seeing the specifics.
Yeah, you will. She'll do some interesting things. I will say Ben will get a lot of focus now.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta wonder, do they have an immediate way back from Hydra Island? I'm not sure that they do, actually.
The others have boats. There's boats there.
Okay.
Yeah, they just those little paddle ones. What are they called? I forget what they're called.
Paddle boats?
Yeah.
What? Canoes?
Yeah, everyone the boats that you always see them using in paddling and those
Canoes?
things. Outriggers, the outriggers.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they have those. They're there. So yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, enjoyable episodes. I'm glad I got to see all of that come together, and I am excited to see what happens next. I want to see what Sun does in the present, and I want to see whatever happens after that nuke. I want to see, I want to be there. I want, that has been an outstanding question for so long, and I just want to, not have questions like that anymore. I want the plot that's happening in the present to finally be the only thing I have to worry about.
Right. Well, that will happen relatively soon. I don't think next time, but maybe 2 times from now.
Yep.
So, I think that is it. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you'll join us next time, where we will be covering episodes 87, The Island, Day 1 to 4, and episode 88, The Island, Day 4 to 5.